Greetings to everyone. In this video, I am going to talk about top 6 greatest traps for black to crush your opponent. Please watch this video till the end, otherwise you will miss many fun traps. So let's look our first trap. So in this first trap, white starts with e4, black plays e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to b5. The royal rules opening. After this move, knight to f6, attacking this e4 pawn, so white defends it with d3, defending it, and we will go for a tricky move, knight to e7, and this e5 pawn is undefended, so white will capture this pawn by knight captures on e5, and after this move we will go for c6, attacking this bishop. So in this position bishop can go to a4 or c4. In this position, if bishop goes to a4, then we will go simply going to a5 with check. And if you see in this position, this bishop and knight is under attack. So the better move for white is go to knight to c3, defending this bishop. But unfortunately, he cannot defend this knight on e5, and we will simply capture that knight and win a piece. So in this position, if he goes to bishop to c4, then again queen to a5 with check. So the better move here is go to knight to c3, and we will capture this e5 knight again with our queen. So let's look at another variation. In this position, white can also go for a tricky move, knight to c4, and this is really a tricky move. In this position, if black captures the knight with pawn captures on b5, then he can go to simply knight to d6 is a smothered checkmate. So how white can deal it with? If white goes to knight to c4, we have a advantage that his bishop is attacked. So we will go for d6. In this position his bishop is attacked, so he will go back with his bishop, and we will go for pawn to b5, fox, knight and the bishop. So in this position better move for white is to go to bishop to b3, but unfortunately he cannot defend his knight, and we will capture that with our pawn. So in this second trap, white starts with d4, d5 and c4, the queen's gambit. After this e6, knight to c3, knight to f6 and bishop to g5, pinning this knight towards the queen. After this move we will go knight to d7, connecting the knight, and in this position white can win a pawn by capturing this pawn. We'll recapture, and white will capture this unprotected pawn with knight captures on d5, and in this position white is thinking that we cannot capture this knight because our knight is pinned towards the queen, but we will capture this knight, and in this position we are sacrificing this gold queen, and in this position white will simply capture queen on d8, and after this move we will go for bishop to b4 with check. In this position queen has to come in the middle because only move is there, and we will capture his queen. He will recapture, and we will capture the bishop on d8 and simply win a piece. So in this third trap, white starts with pawn to d4, and we will go for pawn to e5, sacrificing our pawn in the starting only, and white will simply capture this pawn, and we will go for knight to c6, attacking this pawn. He will defend it with knight to f3, defending this pawn, and queen to e7, and there is a double attack with knight and also the queen. So he will go for bishop to f4, defending this pawn twice. After this position, white has weakened these squares. We will take advantage, queen to b4 with check. In this position, if bishop comes in the middle, then we will simply capture this unprotected knight with queen captures on b2. In this position, if he tries bishop c3, covering this whole square. After this, we will go for bishop to b4, pinning this bishop towards the king. In this position, he will try to defend with queen to d2, defending this bishop, and we will capture his bishop, and in this position he will capture with his queen because queen is logical move, but but we will checkmate with our queen. So in this position, if he goes knight to d2, then we will capture this unprotected pawn with queen captures on b2. In this position, he will try to go to queen to b1, trying to exchange queen. Then we will capture his queen. He will recapture. Then we will go bishop to b5, developing a bishop and also going for a good game. So in this position, if queen comes in the middle, then we will capture this unprotected pawn again with queen captures on b2. If he tries to go queen to c3 eyeing the square, then we will go again with bishop to c4 pinning this queen towards the king, and we will win his queen very easily. So in this position, if he tries to go to knight on d2, then we will capture this unprotected pawn with queen captures on b2. In this position, he will lose one of his pieces, so he will try to go to knight to c3, protecting his rook, but unfortunately he cannot protect his knight and we will capture his knight. So in this position, if he tries to go to pawn to c3, then we will again capture this unprotected pawn with queen captures on b2, and we are attacking his rook. So he will try to go to knight to d2, protecting his rook, and we will capture this pawn with queen captures on c3. Then queen to c1 takes and bishop to b4, developing our bishop, and we will have a good game. So in this fourth trap, white will play e4, we will play e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to c4, and knight to d4. And in this position, this pawn is unprotected, so he will capture with his knight, with knight captures on e5, then queen to g5, forks knight and the pawn. So white will try to go knight captures on f2, forks queen and the rook, and we cannot capture this knight because bishop protects here. So we will go queen captures on g2, attacking this rook on h1. So he will go rook to f1, protecting his rook, and we will capture this unprotected pawn with queen captures on e4 with check. In this position, queen is not a logical move, so he will try bishop to e2, but this was the biggest blunder because after knight to f3, this is a smothered checkmate. So in this fifth trap, white begins with e4, we will play e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to b5, the royal rules opening, and a6. Attacking the bishop, bishop goes to a4 and d6, protecting the pawn, and d5. In this position, b5 attacking this bishop on a4, so bishop goes to b3, and we will tempo this bishop by capturing this pawn on d4 with knight captures on d4, white recaptures, and we will capture this knight. In this position, the better move for white is to go to bishop to d5, simply attack this rook. But if we capture this pawn on d4 with queen captures on d4, then c5 attacking this queen, queen goes to d5, threatening checkmate and also attacking this rook. So we will defend both of them with bishop to e6, attacking the queen, then queen to c6 with check, bishop on d7 attacking this queen, and queen goes to d5 threatening again a checkmate. And after this move we will go for pawn to c4, and this bishop is trapped. This bishop cannot go to a4 because this pawn covers that, and this time this queen cannot capture the rook because our queen protects the rook. And after this move we will simply capture this bishop. So in this last trap, white will go for pawn to d4, then knight to f6, c4, and pawn to e5, sacrificing our pawn in the second move only. So white captures the pawn on e5, attacks the knight. Knight goes to g4, re-attacking this pawn on e5. White will try to defend with knight to f3, defending this pawn, and we will go pawn to d6, trying to trade this pawn. So after this move, white will capture and we will recapture with our bishop. So in this position, most of the players are unhappy with this knight and they will try to put it back with pawn to h3, attacking this knight and hoping that this knight will go back. But we will simply capture the pawn on f2, sacrificing our knight and also forking queen and the rook indirectly. So white will capture with his king and bishop to g3 with jack. In this position, white has only 3 good moves. Whatever he plays, something like king captures on g3, then we will capture this unprotected queen with queen captures on d1 and simply win the game. So if you love this video, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you do not like anything, please comment down that. And do not forget to follow me on Instagram ID in the description. And now I am going. Till then, bye.